All right, Larry Kruger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video, a reaction to Kyle Shanahan's press conference on this Monday. And of course, Pig and a Pickle, the proud sponsor of the Krug Show, the title sponsor of the show. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. And this video is also brought to you by Mojo Fantasy. I'm loving Mojo Fantasy. Check that link in the description and type in Krug in the promo code at Mojo Fantasy, and they will match you up to $100 on your first deposit. And we're giving away a Purdy and a Bosa jersey on Thanksgiving to everybody who signs up at Mojo Fantasy. So do that, hit the promo code Krug, and enter into a drawing to win a Purdy or a Bosa jersey on Thanksgiving night. All right, let's talk a little bit about Kyle Shanahan. He spoke to the media today, as he always does. He starts with the injuries. And coming out of this win over the Jaguars, Colton McKivitz has an ankle injury and a knee injury. So he's got two injuries, I think, on the same side. He looked like he was gutting it out through some pain. McKivitz is considered day to day. As far as Aaron Banks, he remains out with turf toe. Demetrius Flanagan Fowles with his injury is considered day to day. Eric Armstead came out of the game a little dinged up. He's also day to day. Trent Williams is not officially on the injured list, but Trent, was not 100% yesterday against the Jaguars. Kyle was asked about John Feliciano and the plan for Feliciano, and the question was, are you going to work him in at right guard and have him sharing time with Spencer Burford at right guard? And they said that, just based on how well Feliciano had been playing when he did play and how well he'd been practicing, their plan was to try to work him in somewhere. So right now he's playing left guard for Aaron Banks, but Kyle was totally non-committal as to whether or not Feliciano will play center or right guard or if he'll stay at left guard. But he's going to be playing somehow and working into the rotation. And it's probably the smart thing to say, right? If you're not really sure injury wise, and you got a guy who can play three spots, and you could potentially motivate three young offensive linemen to play their best ball by having him there, why state it? Just let it all play out. My guess is that Feliciano will play some right guard, but after watching Brendel get beat by DJ Reader in that Bengals game, maybe he'll play some center as well. To me, if you said, how would you grade out left guard, center, and right guard? I'd probably give Banks the highest grade at left guard, then Brendel, the next grade at center, and probably Burford due to the penalties and MAs at right guard. That he would probably be the lowest rated of the three. Feliciano told me the other day in the locker room that he has had more experience playing left and right guard than he does playing center, but he's capable at all three spots. So my guess is that he'll either share right guard with Burford or that he might step in at right guard for Burford when Banks gets fully healthy. Kyle was asked how Burford and Feliciano played in this game against Jacksonville and said that they both played very well, that he was really pleased with the way Burford and Feliciano played in this game. Kyle was also asked about Drake Jackson and what's his future. And of course, Drake Jackson is on the IR. Kyle said that, it's knee tendonitis that is bothering Drake. And obviously, he'll spend at least 1 month on the practice squad or on the IR because that's the deal. You got to spend at least a month there. And he said he's out at least a month, and that if his knee feels better, hopefully he can come back. So Drake Jackson's season is not necessarily over. Um, Kyle was also asked about how the Niners have scored 6 touchdowns on 9 games on opening drives, and it was asked about the importance of that, and just basically said that he doesn't view the importance of scoring on that drive any more important than any other drive, and was non-committal to that being vital in any way to the 49ers success proposition. He seemed to think that it's just the first drive. It's great that they've scored 6 touchdowns in 9 games on opening drives. And it's not that he doesn't, obviously, he's trying to score a touchdown on every drive. But when he was asked about, is that part of his plan or anything like that, he was non-committal and made it sound like, hey, look, I'll take a touchdown on any drive, not just the opening drive. He was asked more about Jalen Moore, about, if if indeed Colton McKivitz's injury keeps him out against the Bengals or against the Buccaneers, who's more likely to play right tackle between Jalen Moore and Matt Pryor? Moore has played both right and left tackle, and Pryor can play both as well. He said that they have spots that they feel more comfortable at than others, and my guess is Pryor's spot is right tackle and Moore's spot is left tackle. So I guess basically that's the long way of saying that we don't know who will be playing right tackle if Colton McKivitz can't go Sunday against the Buccaneers. Will it be Jalen Moore? Will it be Matt Pryor? It's likely to be one of those two. Um, as I said, Moore's played more at left tackle, played more at right tackle, but they both have practice in both spots, and it sounds like it'll be a decision between those two guys. And then Kyle was asked about the impact on this game of Trent Williams and Deebo returning, and I thought that he would have gravitated towards, it was significant. Oh my God, yeah, it was a major part of the game. The fact that Trent and Deebo came back, and he did say it was a mental lift to the offense, and that their presence gives the team overall more confidence. But he also mentioned that Trent Williams remains not 100% physically, and that Deebo, outside of his return, was not highly involved in the game. He wasn't hugely involved from a production standpoint, and Trent wasn't 100%. So he kind of downplayed the return of those two guys as being a major factor in the win. Um, he basically said that the guys came back from the bye week kind of pissed off. That they didn't like the way they had played in the 3 weeks prior. They knew that they had lost three in a row. The loss to the Bengals at home was especially painful, and guys came back pissed off and motivated after the bye week that they had lost three in a row, despite their 5-0 start, and despite the fact that this is one of the more talented rosters in the NFL. They just came back pissed off and maybe a little bit more focused. It's as far as the game itself, he said, "Hey, look, our guys committed 0 turnovers. We forced 4 turnovers, and our guys just tried to play as good a football game as they possibly could, and they're not worrying about their opponents as much as trying to focus inward on them getting to their right spot. I mean, the 49ers, call it arrogance, call it confidence, call it whatever you want. They believe if they play their best game, then it doesn't necessarily matter who's on the other side that they're playing. You can call that whatever you want to call it, but I mean, the fact of the matter is the Niners didn't turn it over against the top takeaway team in pro football, and they forced a Jacksonville team that had been very clean with the football to turn it over 4 times. And he, at the end of the day, and in this presser, it was like, "Hey, man, our guys just played really well. We focused on playing our game and we played it well." Kyle was asked about the major change in the secondary, being Ambry Thomas was in at outside cornerback, and that Demo Lenore worked back inside as the nickel spot. And he said that he was happy for those guys that, Thomas played well, that he, had the forced fumble, and he really liked it. But then when he was asked, is this going to be kind of the game plan going forward? He's like, hey, it's a week to week deal. And then he mentioned that when Lenore had a couple moments, couple plays that he needed to come out, that Oliver went in for Lenore and played well. But I think Ambry Thomas outside, Lenore inside, opposite, and obviously Mooney Ward on the other side. They believe those are their 3 best cover guys, and they're going to stay with it. Oliver probably runs 4.58, something like that, and he may run in the 4.6s now that he's been in the league. Ambry Thomas coming out of Michigan ran a 4.4 flat. And so he's just got a lot more speed. He's a better athlete. He's got more ability to mirror athletic receivers up and down the field. And so I think that's what you're going to see. Thomas outside, opposite Mooney. Lenore inside. That's going to be your first team cornerback group. He says it could change, but it's a week to week league, but that's what they're going with. And then he was asked about Nick Bosa's snap count. Bosa had, I think, played 68 snaps against Cincinnati. And Kasarik told me earlier this summer, hey, man, we got to limit Nick Bosa's snaps. We can't play him 65, 70 snaps or he's not going to be fresh by the end of the year. And and Kyle admitted, he said, like, our goal for getting that number down was one of the goals that we discussed this week, and we're glad that his snap count is down. The way that how hard Nick plays against the run or the pass. He said our goal for the snap count to be down, that's been our goal for a number of weeks, and we finally got it down. So, the presence of some of the better depth that they've added, obviously Chase Young, Randy Gregory, they're trying to keep Bosa's snap count down and keep him as fresh as possible as they get through the season and head towards the postseason, coming up later this year. And then he was asked one question. He said, "Like, how'd you feel like you guys did against the screen game?" And he just mentioned that there's just too much space. That they really, he said, we need to close down on that space better. And that's true. I mean, there's a lot of when teams throw screen passes against the Niners, they just don't look very natural in flowing to the football, and it always looks like there's big play potential. And when you watch those screen passes on film a second or third time, you look at it and go, "Wow, if this guy doesn't make the tackle, the screen could have gone for 35 yards, 40 yards." So he said, "Hey, look, we watched it on. It was a point of emphasis. We know we got to get better in the screen game. We know we need to close down that space better, and it's something that they're going to focus on in the weeks ahead, and should, because that looks, if you watch that on film and you saw how much space there was on these screen passes, you'd say, note to self, throw 5 to 6 screen passes per half against this 49er defense, because any one of them could go for a touchdown or a 50-yard play if you can get one or two guys out of position. They're not getting enough guys to the ball fast enough in the screen game to really consistently kind of deter teams from throwing screens their way. All right, that does it for the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor. Thanks to Mojo Fantasy for sponsoring the video. Thanks to all you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.